Miami Dolphins fans, you should be fired up about these two players, Chop Robinson and Jonnu Smith. Today's Miami Dolphins, today's show by Chat Sports, will go into how good they have been for the Dolphins. I am Nick Roloff. But before we get into that, our update on the Week 15 sub battle, just a couple days away from this game on Sunday afternoon. We have a 10 subscriber lead. We picked up 93 subscribers this week. Appreciate all the new subscribers. Texans today is 83, 10 subscriber lead. Hit that sub button for content every day surrounding the Fins and our live shows on game days. Plus, we want to take down the Texans on the field as well as the YouTube streets. All right, we'll start with Chop Robinson because the 21st overall pick from Penn State has been absolutely sensational for the Miami Dolphins this season. And I have done a complete 360 on the young man, or 180, I guess is the right way to say that, because in his first 6 games this season, he has been terrible. But in the last 7 games, it has been unbelievable. He has been one of the best pass rushers in the entire NFL over the last 7 games. You could actually make the argument over the last 7 games, he has been the best pass rusher in the entire National Football League. Getting after the quarterbacks, 25 hurries, 4 sacks, 32 pressures. Are you kidding me? This young man has figured out what it takes to get after the quarterback in the NFL, and he is putting it to good use. And it's a really good thing that he has. And even though the Dolphins are still 6-7, still under 500 before this game against the Texans on Sunday, the Dolphins' pass rush has been its weakness out of any unit. You can make the argument interior offensive line has been bad, but the Dolphins' pass rush has been horrific this year. Could you imagine if Chop Robinson has not come on over the last 7 games? Like, if Chop didn't have 32 pressures, 4 sacks in the last 7 games, how bad would this unit actually be? He has single-handedly saved this Dolphins pass rush and defense over the last 7 games. And it still hasn't been good enough. You see the numbers on screen right now. The Dolphins still rank 2nd worst in the NFL in total sacks with 24. It's abysmal. And the sack percentage as well is just as bad at 5.38% of the time. That's 29th in the National Football League. The Dolphins' pass rush has been its biggest weakness on the defensive side of the field all year long, and that's even with Chop Robinson playing really good football. They need Jalen Phillips back. They need Bradley Chubb back. And heck, maybe Bradley Chubb will be back this upcoming Sunday. We'll let you know if that is the case. But before we talk more about Chop, show the rookie some love. I was a hater at the beginning of the pick. It looked bad, but he has been a home run pick for Chris Greer. Spam those 44s down in the comment section. And I want to show some more stats on Chop Robinson here because it's been unbelievable. His pass rush win rate since week 11, so over the past 4 weeks, or 3 weeks you should say, has been the number 1. Look at who he's beating. He is beating Danielle Hunter, who you're playing this Sunday, concerning about that as well. He is beating Micah Parsons, who many consider a top 3, top 5 defensive player in the NFL. He has the number 1 pass rush win rate since week 11, but it's actually just as good for the entire season when you account for all 15 or 14 weeks, all 14 games played by him and other players in the NFL. He has the 3rd highest pass rush win rate according to Pro Football Focus on the year, only trailing Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson. He has been unbelievable, winning 20.3% of the time. Incredible statistics. And many of you might ask, what changed? How did he go from non-existent, not even a factor on the football field in the first 6 games, to being a dominant pass rusher over the last 7 games? Well, I believe the Dolphins finally just understood, and Anthony Weaver in this defense understood what he brings to the table and what his strengths are. They were trying to use him as a Andrew Van Ginkel type and have him be his replacement after he left in free agency. That athletic edge rusher that can get after the quarterback, can drop into coverage, can set the edge in the run game as well. But once they realized that's not what makes Chop great. What makes Chop great is that he is that athletic and able to just get around offensive tackles with his speed, his athleticism, his burst, his bend. And once they realized, hey, we're just going to let Chop be Chop and rush the passer on stunts and normal bull rushes and speed rushes on the perimeter, well, that's when Chop Robinson started to really just get into his own and dominate some of these offensive tackles in the NFL. And this should excite you as a Dolphins fan for a lot of reasons. One, because he's dominating as a rookie over the last 7 games. He's only going to get better as he gets a full offseason in the NFL, his first one, and he refines his craft, gets better on the technique, And when you think of the pass rush next season, all 4 of these guys are under contract. Obviously, Chop entering his second year. Jalen Phillips entering the final year of his rookie contract, that 5th-year player or team option that the Dolphins accepted before the season. Bradley Chubb is still under contract. We'll see if he remains with the Dolphins, could be traded. That will be a talking point in the offseason. But then Zach Sealer, your best interior defensive lineman, is still under contract next year. You could have one of the best pass rushers in all football if these 4 can stay healthy. You add to the interior potentially in the draft and free agency. You add a 4th pass rusher as a veteran, or Mohamed Kamara steps up as that 4th guy. You can have one of a top echelon pass rushers in the entire NFL next season if these 4 return and stay healthy. All right, we're going to transition over to Jonnu Smith in just a second because he has been just as good as Chop Robinson over the last 7 or 8 games. But before we do that, we do got to tell you about Game Time, the #1 ticketing app and a proud sponsor here at Dolphins Today. If you want to go see a live event, whether it's a sporting event, comedy show, concert, Game Time is the best way to get your tickets. They have so many great features like Game Time Picks. What does that do? Well, it filters out the fluff to show you the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They also have so many great features like all-in pricing, showing you the total price of your ticket up front rather than getting blindsided by fees at checkout. Plus, they will show you the seat in the app before you buy, get a full panoramic view. Hopefully my parents aren't watching, but I did get them a Christmas gift on Game Time. What do I mean by that? Well, I live in Dallas. We're going to the Mavericks-Timberwolves game on Christmas. Hopefully they're not watching. How did I buy those tickets? Well, obviously with Game Time because it's the easiest experience possible. And I got $20 off my first purchase. Not on this one because I've made so many purchases, but back when I went to LSU, USC in week 1 of the college football season because I download the app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off. Terms apply, first purchase only, but make sure you join me on Game Time by downloading the app, creating an account, and using code CHATSPORTS. That gets you $20 off. What time is it? It's game time. All right, let's transition over to the tight end for Miami, Jonnu Smith, because he has been a revelation. And if you go back to the offseason, I will admit I've had some misses on this Dolphins roster. I have had some hits. Jonnu Smith has been an absolute hit. I said he was going to be a difference maker before the season began by the way he can make things happen after the catch, the way his athleticism and physicality can create mismatches with safeties and linebackers in the middle of the field, and he has paid me right. He has been awesome for the Dolphins this season. 692 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaging 53.2 yards per game, and he has been on a different level since the bye week. Dolphins had an early bye week. It was in week 6. Ever since then, that first game coming out of the bye against the Indianapolis Colts in week 7, where the coaching staff did say during the bye week they made a effort to look at the film and develop a playbook that could get Jonnu Smith more involved after that bye week. Well, you see the numbers. And if you just remember a second ago what we showed you, he has 61 receptions. He has 692 yards. He has 5 touchdowns. And he averaging 53 yards per game. Well, that was on the season. The numbers are pretty much all after the bye. He was a non-factor on this Dolphins football team through the first 5 games of the season. Since the bye, 8 games played, he has been dominating. 69 yards per game, very nice number. All of his touchdowns, basically all of his receptions, 552 yards. He has been great for the Dolphins and has been Tua Tagovailoa's favorite target over the last 5 weeks. And how about this little statistic from Underdog Fantasy, by the way? Jonnu Smith, 17-game pace since the bye week. We showed you those 8 games. 100 receptions, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. I mean, are you serious with those numbers? That would be one of the best tight end seasons of all time. And I know it's fantasy and that doesn't relate to actual football and impacting wins on Sundays, but I do think it's interesting to note that if you did take his fantasy score from that pace, it would be the 5th best tight end season since 2015. That's the type of level he is playing at right now and the type of jolt and energy he's bringing to this Dolphins offense. Just go back to last Sunday. He had 0 catches in regulation. Well, in overtime, that quite changed quickly because he got 3 catches, 44 yards, and the game-winning touchdown for the Dolphins on that drive. Rate Jonnu Smith's 2024 season, A, B, C, D, or F. Get down in the comment section and let me know how he's been. I'm going to give it an A. I don't think you can give it anything but an A. This is going to be the best season by a Miami Dolphins tight end, maybe in franchise history. He, I believe, is 100 yards and change away from having the most yards by a tight end in a single season for a Miami Dolphin. I expect him to hit that number with 4 games to play. He has been a great signing by Chris Grier in this Dolphins front office. And the beautiful thing about it, and good thing they had the foresight to do this, it wasn't just a one-year deal after he got released by the Atlanta Falcons. He is under contract once again in the 25-26 season, and just for a $4.6 million cap hit. That might be one of the best contracts in all of football, because if he's giving you that production this year and will do it potentially again next year for under $5 million, that is an absolute steal. And we have talked a lot about firing GM Chris Grier. We have talked about how he has made a lot of mistakes at the defensive line, in the safety room. But if we're going to give these two players, Chop Robinson, Jonnu Smith, credit for how good they've been this season, I have to mention that they were great moves by Grier. He was the one who made the pick at 21 for Chop Robinson. He was the one who pounced on Jonnu Smith before free agency, because you were allowed to do that when a veteran gets waived by a team, and give him a 2-year contract. Credit to Chris Grier for getting these two guys in the Dolphins building, because they will be building blocks for the Dolphins going from this season to next season and what hopes to be a turnaround year for the Miami Dolphins. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed. Like I said, just a few days away from Week 15, Dolphins, Texans, 10 subscriber lead. Hit that sub button, because I want to take down the Texans on YouTube, and that will carry us into Sunday, where hopefully we take them down on the field.